Yeah, he tried. To cut the wires.
I'm Ben Evans. This afternoon I'm joined by Singing in the Abbey, whose latest album, Wake Up Sardis, has been met with much critical acclaim around the Chicago area. In order, this is Annie Higgins, this is Katie Cooper, this is Donna Miller, and this is Diana Knight. Talk to me about the origins of Singing in the Abbey.
Anyone want to take that? Well, it started with you, it's true, with Annie, right? Songwriting for years beforehand and playing for years beforehand. And I'm going to say it. Annie's a siren, because it's like my favorite story. Annie, she plucks people from other bands. When, she goes to shows, she plays with them, and then she's a siren, and we're drawn to her, and she just plucks us away. And that's what she did. So with Donna and I brought on Diana. So these songs had already been written by Annie previously, and then taken to a different level, obviously, when you add all the strings with it.
You believed in a loving. They believed in a who they know. Yeah, the lovers leave too quickly.
Do you think that you run the risk of being stigmatized or, dare I say, blacklisted because there are some religious elements to your music? I mean, that's always kind of the risk you run when you are invoking spiritual, religious imagery in your work. Are you conscious of that? Do you feel that? Or?
Yeah, I'm very, very conscious of that. I don't consider myself religious, for instance. Maybe spiritual, I'm not sure. But so that has always been a scary thing for me. Should we be called a Christian alt chamber pop group? I think my head might explode. No. But some other ones of us might sort of be okay with that or not.
Well, I'm Christian, and I'm not afraid to shout that. Like, I'm definitely Christian, and I consider myself religious. I'm not just spiritual. I am absolutely religious. But I wouldn't want our band to be classified as a Christian band. So I think that, like you said, you could get blacklisted in that way. If you have the label of Christian, then you're only going to attract a certain type, certain people that want Christian music.
It's very, very difficult to coexist and have artistic legitimacy. At least I've found being around art when people do think that, okay, these people are religious. Do you find that?
To me, like, this isn't religious at all. It's just really strange to me, because my perception is like, I can see where you'd get that, but I'm like, I've never gotten that. There's like one song that's a little gospel-y, but I think it's more the spirit of the gospel. I
guess what led me in that direction is the biblical city mentioned, Sardis.
Yeah, it's,
Wake Up Sardis.
It's not a crazy thing that you might go that
singing
route.
in the Abbey.
Where in the world would you get that
crazy.
idea, really?
See, and to me, I think of that as more of a lesson rather than like a religion. Like, it's just like teaching us to kind of be a little more aware of what's going on around you. Just kind of wake up a little bit and become more aware of your surroundings. Stop going through the motions. That's what it means to me.
Because Sardis is...
And not necessarily following Jesus as a thief through a window. It's not like that to me. Where I could see how other people would feel that way.
Since it's on the album cover.
Well, I think for us it's really important that, as Donna said, like, to wake up and open your eyes and be aware of things. And people have told me our music is cerebral, it's academic, and so,
that was
some
actually,
people could say, like, oh, it's religious. Well, if it makes you think, then good.
And I was gonna speak to that. It is a very academic, a very there's a lot of literary imagery, I know, in songs on this record and songs that you plan to release with the next record. And one that I was really, really moved by is a song about Ophelia. And can you talk to me about the origins of that song?
Sure. That song, like, I remember waking up in the middle of the night with the sweetness of Ophelia in my head, and I had not read Hamlet prior to that, so it was interesting to me to have that in my head and then just kind of dive into it, read it, and that's kind of what I got out of Hamlet was Ophelia's crazy. Like she has this perception or persona of being crazy, but to me, it was almost like this sweetness of her that is so not of this world, that is perceived as crazy in this world. So I, like in that song, I was trying to show a different side of her that's not the typical literary side, but more of the soft and not of this worldly side.
Now you lay in a rift's bed, unable to escape, both men dead.
Is music for you guys cathartic? I mean, when you're on the stage, do you feel like, hey, I'm cutting myself open and I'm more whole now than than I am when I'm sitting in my apartment eating ramen noodles watching TV?
Yes. Much more so.
I think you kind of got a taste of that just as we're warming up. Like you kept like, let's go, and we just kept playing and playing and playing. I think like we'd all just rather be playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of hard to wrangle down once we start playing. And I think that, yeah, when we're on stage and we're presenting this and it's very special to us and it's really important, and you feel like you're really giving something away, and you hope that it's received.
There's such a gravity to your music. Do you ever feel as if you can be dismissed at a crowded bar? Is it ever discouraging? I can imagine it is.
Do you know what it feels like to be on stage and everyone's just like carrying on and talking and like no one's paying attention to you at all? Like that's happened to us.
Oh, sure. Once, though. That, and that was opening for some canned national act, but almost every time we can like silence a bar, and that's a little stunning to me. Like sometimes people listen a little too closely and I freak out a little.
Yeah.
But those moments, you're right, in bars when it is real loud and suddenly something that we do kind of stops everyone, that's an amazing moment.
I feel like we're sort of a buzzkill because everyone's having a good time, laughing, loud, noisy, and by the time we're done playing, everyone's just really quiet.
Depressed.
There's a wonderful intimacy to your music, and
That's nice. Thank you.
Annie, what song on this album is closest to you? It is your song. If you had to pick one.
I think the most personal would be Uncapable of Flying.
And take my hand, and I will take your hand, 'cause I know you'll show me more, but I'm tired, my eyes are heavy.
Talk about Uncapable of Flying.
Well, that one actually is about God.
I'm awake, but I am awake in my end.
And basically just feeling inadequate in his presence.
You are great, but I am incapable of flying.
Reaching out to him, but then, in those times where you don't have a sense of what's happening, kind of how you feel during those times. So, like the beginning of the song is a conversation of, him talking to me.
You are great, but I am incapable of flying.
Thanks so much for taking the time and
We
sitting
really
down with me.
appreciate it. Thank you.